So I've had a lot of people ask me how Maria feeds herself. So I thought I would show you just a little bit about that. The thing that she uses the most is this contraption that we got from Shriners. And this actually has two arms on it. One arm to hold her drink, and we can position, it's actually pretty strong. So we can position it wherever we need to so she can get to her drink. And then it has this other arm that we can position that holds a little dish, like a little bread pan dish. So you can see this one's pretty deep. So for her to be able to get inside of it is pretty difficult. So what I've done is I just turned it over, stuck some Velcro on the underside, then got my little handy IKEA plate here, added some Velcro to the back of that as well, and I can just stick it down on top of that. Sorry, Maria. Then I can get this really right up close to her mouth, so we can put her sandwiches there or pizza. Pretty much we just use this for solid things like that, things that she can take bites out of. The one problem we have with that is we still have to hold the food down so she can take bites without pulling it completely off the plate. And this plate is has a little too high of an edge, so I need to find another plastic plate that doesn't have an edge like that, and it'd be easier for her to get the food. But other than that, it works pretty well. So the next step in eating independently is to be able to scoop food and then basically use a utensil with her mouth. So you can see she has been practicing. Get out of the bowl. She's been practicing with puffballs. Because the problem I have with this is when I get that spoon in her mouth, she has so much fun with it that she does not want to actually eat any food. So we've been practicing with puffballs instead of food. That way I can still feed her lunch. So I've just been feeding her myself if it's not sandwiches. And then in the meantime, we practice scooping. She's getting really good at scooping. She will do this for hours. Sometimes I'll put a bucket right next to her high chair so she can scoop and dump into the bucket, which she thinks is so much fun. So you can see her spoon has a little handle on it, and I will show you why. Let me demonstrate. So this contraption, this little white thing right here, is something that Home Depot made for us, which was so kind and generous of them. But you can see it is way too tall for her to be able to use at the table, with, at least in her high chair. When she gets a little taller or gets out of the high chair and we can get a taller chair for the table, she'll be able to use that. So the idea for this contraption is like she's doing, she would scoop the item, get it onto the silverware, then she would place it onto that magnet, and then she would use her mouth to spin this towards her, and that's why I had to put a handle on it, because she can only spin it so far and she can't quite reach the food on the end. So then she would spin this. Oh, you want to show them? Yeah? And then she could get to the food. So the other problem with this design is the magnet they put on top is a little too strong. So getting the utensil off of it is a bit of a struggle. And I don't think she'd be able to do that on her own yet. Not quite strong enough yet. So I made her a little modified version of that, same thing. And this, it actually used to be a spatula holder that you stick on like your saucepan when you're making dinner. I tore the rubber pieces off the top, and then I attached this hardware for chairs. It's a swivel, I don't know what you call it, but it swivels and you put it on the bottom of chairs. And I attached a magnet to the top, and I had to add a bunch of glue in there. I don't know how well you can see that because it swiveled a little too much. So I like this because I can attach this to anything. So I just attach it to her little bowl here. You can see I put Velcro. I have Velcro on her tray and then Velcro on the bowl too to help it stay in place better. Sorry, it's hard to work one-handed. Okay, so maybe she'll show us how it's done, but probably not. So that's the same idea. Then she just scoops and sticks it on there. The other problem with magnets though is when you, let me show you. Of course these puff balls are really not very sticky at all, but once you get it onto the magnet, it kind of bounces a little bit and knocks the food off. I think the fork will be easier because we can stick things to the fork better. So that's it. There you have it. And that is how she is going to learn to feed herself.